Hello and welcome to the Aviva Women's Tour. It's the Queen stage, by far the sternest test that this race has ever faced. 109 kilometres from Ashbourne to Chesterfield of pretty much unrelenting and brutal climbing. It's absolutely bound to be hard, but then again, yesterday wasn't exactly easy.
Foul conditions for the race yesterday, riders battling heavy rain for the longest stage of them all. Once again, the GC riders Renna Vos takes over the lead of the race, having matched Christina Maginus second for second at the intermediate sprints. She now leads by 3 seconds. Amy Peters is up to third, and last year's winner Lisa Brennauer right back in the hunt in fourth at 11 seconds. Lizzie Armitstead is in 8th place, 16 seconds down on Vos.
So, all change at the top of the leaderboard, but in a strange way, very familiar, because the 2014 winner, Marianne Vos, is right where she wants to be after 2 stages of racing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this was obviously a goal for her coming back into fitness, and yesterday those intermediate sprints were super aggressive between Boels Dolmans and Rabo Liv, and yeah, at the finish she managed to get herself the bonus points and take the yellow jersey.
I mean, had she not finished third over the line yesterday, she wouldn't be in the race lead, but you know, that's the combination of strength, confidence and being race smart as well, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also Christine went for those bonus seconds too, because obviously it's hugely important for her to keep the yellow jersey, and at the end of the day it just came down to the fact that Marianne grasped those last seconds at the finish.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come on in a little while to talk about today in a bit more detail, but for you, where you're standing right now, which is in the middle of Ashbourne, by the way, is she your race favourite?
I still don't think he's finished yet.
All right, hold that thought, because one of the reasons for that might be, as you noticed, in 4th place, last year's winner, Lisa Brennauer, is only 11 seconds down, so still very much a contender. We sent Sive O'Shea from cyclingnews.com to talk to her.
Brennauer, then the German, gathering herself to try and get the stage victory in the middle of our shot. Yes, on the line, it's Brennauer that takes it from Johansson. This really is bravery. And there is the winner then of the Aviva Tour, Lisa Brennauer, and she is celebrating.
I'm here with Lisa Brennauer, Canyon SRAM, defending champion from last year. Lisa, what are your memories of the race from last year and winning the race?
Yeah, I have pretty good memories about last year. It was an awesome tour, a good organization, but I remember all those crowds alongside the road that make this race so good for us and so special for us, all those people cheering for us alongside the road.
What did it mean to you to take that overall victory and by such a small margin to Jolene Dora?
Yeah, it was a really big victory for me. It's one of the biggest events in women's cycling and one of the grand tours. So I was very, very happy when I could win this second edition last year.
It's been a bit of a mixed start for you. Day one you had a late crash, but yesterday you finished second. On balance, do you think that you can be happy with what you were able to do so far?
Yeah, I think I have to be happy with how the race went. I was also lucky in my crash. I mean, I crashed pretty hard and still I feel quite sore. But taking second place yesterday was an awesome result. So I'm really happy how it's going so far. I'm now 4th in GC, 11 seconds down, and I think everything is open now. Yeah, this is still open for us.
And you mentioned today it's a really big day. We've got 2,000 metres of climbing. What do you think that we can expect from today?
Yeah, I expect a very hard race and a lot of climbing. So it's going to be a tough stage. I think that teams will be very active, and so I expect a lot of attacks on the climbs. And yeah, I hope that we can manage to stay with the main contenders.
So a big day for Lisa Brennauer, and she's not alone in that respect, because if any of them are going to shift Marianne Vos, today is probably, well, tomorrow's another opportunity, but today's the big one, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Today is the hilly day that everybody's been waiting for, that's going to be really important, and it's going to be really exciting to watch, because with such small time gaps between the very strong riders that you would say are the contenders for the race, You've got to get rid of Marianne Vos though, and how do you do that? So it's going to be really, really exciting race.
Would you imagine Canyon Schramm for Lisa Brennauer and Bull Stallmans for a number of different candidates, of course, including Christina Majeras, who's their best placed rider, they'll get together a little bit to work over Rabobank?
I think everyone will have their own strategy. I think that in a stage like today, where there is the opportunity to get away, I think it will be a really attacking race, and I think Bulls have the strength in the number of riders they have at the very top of the general classification, and I think they'll use that to try and attack and to try and wear down Mariana and her team so that they can take back those seconds. And Christine is definitely not done yet.
Yeah. Well, you can see from right where we're standing, actually, because I'm towering over Helen here from my elevated position on this climb here. It's gradients all the way today. It is extremely climby, if that's a word. That's why it's the Queen stage. Stage 3, and it's into the Peak District for the first time as the Women's Tour takes on the toughest terrain yet. Ashbourne to Chesterfield over 109.6 testing and probably very selective kilometres. After the first sprint of the day at Buxton, the principal climbs are set at Winster and Bank Road out of Matlock. But they're only half the story, as the race then climbs again past Lineker Reservoir before dropping down into Chesterfield for the finish. The route starts in the delightful Georgian town of Ashbourne and heads out into the spectacular scenery of the Peak District National Park. Nearby are some of Derbyshire's best attractions, including beautiful Dovedale, a scenic area popular with walkers. The National Trust houses of Sudbury Hall and Kedleston Hall are both close by, as is the world-renowned theme park of Alton Towers. The stage finishes in the historic town of Chesterfield, nestling on the edge of the Peak District. It's famous for its 800-year-old open-air markets, indoor market hall and the unique and unusual Crooked Spire Church. Well, as you can see, the motorbikes are getting ready now to escort the race on the road from Ashbourne up to Chesterfield. It's the Queen stage, and to escort you through it, Hugh Porter and Sarah Connolly.
Thanks, Ned. Well, if you think yesterday's 140-kilometre longish stage where the climbs came near the end was tough, you ain't seen nothing yet. Today, the riders will weave their way through the Peak District National Park from Ashbourne to Chesterfield over 109 kilometres. The shortest leg this year, labelled the Queen Stage, testimony to its severe terrain. The climbs are brutal, and with no respite, only the strongest will survive the challenge. After 279 kilometres of racing completed at a tad under 40 kilometres per hour, 27 riders are within 17 seconds of the Aviva yellow jersey held by Marianne Vos, with her closest rival, Christina Majeras, a scant 3 seconds behind. Well, with a course ahead that we've got, we are in for a cracking day's racing.
This is going to be wonderful. There are 2 categorised climbs, but there's about 4 more brutal ones. And as well as climbing, the descending is going to be really interesting. They're tight, narrow, technical descents, and they also offer really good opportunities for riders to escape on.
Well, in view of the fact that the top 3 are very, very close together, remember it's Marianne Vos leading, 3 seconds behind is Majeras, and then Amy Peters at 7 seconds. The first sprint of the day, which comes at Buxton, could be very important because there is 3 seconds, 2 seconds and 1 second available.
Yes, yesterday we saw Marianne Vos and Christine Majeras really battle for those seconds because they're so important. These seconds can make or break a rider's race. Will it be those 2 again, or are we going to see other riders in the mix?
Yeah, that was very interesting. They went head to head. They both shared the bonuses, but at the end of the day, they remained exactly how they'd started. So it went down to the sprint at the end of the stage. But just looking ahead, after the sprint at Buxton, then we move into the first of the climbs, and they are absolutely brutal. And here we're probably going to see Katie Hall, the American, trying to reinforce her stranglehold on the lead in the Strava Queen of the Mountains.
Yes, today's a great day for riders like Hall, the pure climbers. We're going to see riders like Ashley Millman-Passio come out, maybe even Emma Pooley. She hasn't really shone so far this race.
No, it could be a day for her to dance up those climbs. Well, after they've got that first ascent out of the way at Winster, they move on to the second in the sprints at Darley Dale, and then the final climb, which I think is probably the hardest actually, and that's Matlock Bank Road. That is really going to test the riders, and there are some tired legs in here, believe me.
Yes, and once they've got through all the climbing, they've got a very technical finish. 4 corners in the last kilometre.
And the road narrows, and the final 300 metres are on cobbles. So the ingredients here today, absolutely perfect, and I feel we're in for a very, very spicy day's racing. Once that red and white flag is pulled into the car, then it's all systems go and the race is on.
Yes, and I think today they're going to be attacking right from the gun.
The one thing I am pleased about is the roads are dry. I mean, they've been through the most atrocious weather, but now we're into this very, very hilly terrain. It is good to see that the roads are dry, because not only will it be tough going up the climbs, but they'll need to be very vigilant and skillful on the descents. Don't go away, there's some great racing to come. Well, welcome back, and the field are going absolutely flat out now because we're getting close to the first sprint of the day in Buxton. 27.8 kilometres they will have covered when they cross the line.
Yes, we're expecting to see the really big teams at the front at this point. They're going to be really fighting for it. And again, Liv Planteau, they've been doing this all week. That's Fletcher Mackay on the front with a white jersey, the best young rider.
We'll be looking, of course, for the yellow jersey of Marianne Vos, because Vos will be out to try and get those 3 seconds on the line to try and increase her lead. We also got a glimpse of the leader there in the chain reaction points jersey, and that's Majoros, the Luxembourg champion.
Yes, and you can see that orange and white jersey of Rabo Liv as Vos's teammates really push for her. And there, off the back, Emma Pooley. It doesn't seem to be a good day for her.
Well, you'd have thought today would have been the day that it has suited Emma Pooley. All the climbs ahead. She's very, very small, and she can dance her way over those normally, but she's struggling at the back. But the pace really is beginning to ratchet up now as we're getting nearer and nearer to this sprint in Buxton. Pooley clinging to the coattails of the peloton, and in fact she's distanced here. There are 3 or 4 that have lost contact.
Yes, but up front it's Rabo Liv, and look, there's Molly Weaver on the front from Liv Planteau. She's been such a strong rider, pushing and pushing every day for her teammates. It seems interesting that Rabo, they're really going for this. It's almost a lead-out train to that sprint.
Yeah, and it's all, of course, to help Marianne Vos, the winner of the first edition of the Aviva Women's Tour. Coming up to the line, oh, there it was, and it was Vos that got it. Very, very close. She looked across as much as to say, wow, that was a close one. But I think, yes, it's confirmed. 3 seconds for Vos. Once again, Leah Kirchmann's up in the mix for the 2 seconds, and it was Majoros that got the 1 second.
Yes, Leah Kirkman is having a fantastic season this year. She's really stepped up. It's her first full season in a European team after being based in North America.
Well, they're all together, and we are well on our way now to the first climb, and that is at Winster, and it's 4.5 kilometres long. One of the riders abandoning there, that's Cucinotta, the Italian, clearly not happy with the temperature and the conditions, but we've got an attack on the front here, and this is Chantal Black trying to go away, and she's being joined by Clara Koppenberg.
Yes, this looks like a really fantastic attack. This is exactly what Chantal Black's known for. She's won 2 of the UCI World Tour races this year, doing exactly this kind of move. And look, once she goes, look how quickly she's distanced the peloton there. And
she, of course, is in the team of Bowles Dolman, so this will be very, very interesting. A good development for Lizzie Armitstead, because it will put the yellow jersey on the back foot, and that means that Rabo Liv will have to counter.
Yes, but with one of their riders, Lucinda Brand, was chasing that attack down. And look, Brand, the Dutch national champion, third wheel back, has managed to catch that group.
So this race already beginning to unfold, and I think today it's going to reshape the general classifications. We get another glimpse of Pooley right at the back of the field.
Yes, but at the front there's another Rabo Liv, 2 Rabo Liv riders in that group.
Yep, there's 11 riders clear. Hannah Barnes, Jolene Dora, Chantal Black, Rosanne Slick, Katie Hall, Amanda Spratt, Clara Koppenberg, Lucinda Brand, Roxanne Knetemann, Janeka Ensing and Rosella Ratto. It's an interesting group this, but 2 of the riders are really dangerous to the yellow jersey.
Yes, and as they come into the bottom of the first Queen of the Mountains of the day, we've got the really exciting race. There's 2 of those riders, Amanda Spratt and Katie Hall, are within 17 seconds of the general classification lead. So if they can gatekeep away, this could be very good for them.
It is. It's an intriguing development, and also Katie Hall, one of those 2 at 17 seconds, a 29-year-old American, will be looking to add more points to her tally in the quest to become the winner of the Strava Queen of the Mountains competition. And she is, at the moment, climbing very, very well. Here are the peloton, taking the right-hander, and the gap is beginning to grow.
Yes, they've got 3 really strong climbers there. Hall, obviously, in Queen of the Mountains. Amanda Spratt, the young Australian national champion. And Rosella Ratto, a very young rider who's just coming onto form.
1 minute and 3 seconds already the advantage. There is Hall wearing that Queen of the Mountains jersey. So Ratto, as you just mentioned, she was 3rd actually overall in the first tour in 2014 and tidied up a stage victory. Ratto, the Italian former junior world champion, will be a strong ally for these breakaway riders.
Yes, and they've got 2 riders, Black and Brands, who are queens of breakaways. They're exactly known for this kind of riding.
And there is Ratto. Sorry to butt in there, but that was a good shot of Ratto. We've got riders from United Healthcare and Ayla Cipollini right at the back of the peloton.
Yes, it doesn't look like they're chasing very hard, and that's partly because most of the big teams are all represented at the front. So maybe they're going to be happy to let this break ride for a while.
Yeah, and it's going to play into the hands of Chantal Black, who of course is the teammate of Lizzie Armitstead. I'm waiting to see just how this race is going to pan out, but this group are moving sweetly clear. The Aussie champion on the far side, that is Spratt, and I must admit she'll be happy to be in this move because she's 17th overall at 17 seconds. Small diminutive figure, but she's read the move well.
Yes, it's quite surprising that they've let Hall and Spratt get away, because there's a very large group of riders at 17 seconds back. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and where they start chasing it.
Just a split really that occurred, and what's happened is that nobody took up the chase and the peloton dawdled, if you like, and of course the gap developed, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? You've got to be alert at all times. That's Knaterman we were looking at.
Yes, Roxanne Knaterman, she's the daughter of legendary cyclist Kerry Knaterman, and she's really well known for getting into attacks and really trying to get away. It's an interesting makeup. They've got the 2 GC contenders, some attack queens, and some riders from small teams who might really be in with a chance here.
Yeah, and there's Jolene Dora there in the National Belgian Championship jersey right at the front. But we're going to keep an eye on Hall here. She'll be able to add more points to her tally. She started the stage with 14. She's got a cushion of 2 points over Alona Hoeksma, who was the leader after day 1.
Yes, the Queen of the Mountains jersey, this is one of the competitions within the competition. As well as going for the overall lead, there are these prizes for teams, and for a rider like Hall, who's so new to cycling, this is going to be really good for her confidence if she can keep this jersey.
Glimpse of the Dutch national champion at the back, number 92, that's Brand, and there's the gap confirmed at 1 minute and 10 seconds. Let me just also point out to you, in this women's tour, all climbs carry the same amount of points, so first over the top gets 6, sixth place gets 1. It's as simple as that.
Yes, and it's going to be, we've got some riders up there we wouldn't normally expect to see in climbs. Dora is a sprinter, as is Hannah Barnes, and Janneke Ensing and Rosanna Slick. They're very good attack riders, but it's quite interesting seeing them in the front on a climb. But it's even more interesting that we haven't seen those pure climbers like Ratto and Spratt and Hall make an attack yet.
The thing that does concern me, when you've got a group as big as this, you're going to get a few passengers. So if everybody doesn't go through fluently and take their turn at the front, then of course that can cause a few problems, and then that would disrupt the rhythm. But at the moment they all seem to be happy to contribute to the pace setting.
Yes, you always get interesting politics in this, because if you're a rider out in front and you've got teammates behind you who are wanting to ride for GC, you can legitimately say, oh, I can't take my turn, I'm working for my teammate, and that can cause real problems in the group. But there's Kopperberg and Hannah Barnes speeding up there. So nice to see her at the front, especially after her horrible ankle injury last year.
Yeah, it'd be nice to see Hannah Barnes get to the finish to deliver her sprint. She won the final stage in the tour last year. Now then, when they do get to the summit of this climb, 57.7 kilometres, remember it's the longest, the Queen stage, and arguably the hardest at 109. But if that gap has grown, then I think 1 or 2 riders in this peloton are going to get seriously concerned, and a lot of the big markers have missed the move. Well, there is the line. It's not a problem for Hall. She crests the top in first position and adds another 6 points to her tally. So she is tapping it out very, very professionally on the ascents. There's the rest of the positions for you. It's academic really in the competition, because it's all been dominated by Katie Hall.
Yes, and at this point in the race we've now got really interesting, the obstacles come thick and fast. We've got another sprint point coming very, very close in just 6 kilometres.
Yeah, and that next sprint will be at Darley Dale. They will have 68 kilometres under the wheels there. But looking at the group that is here, these slender bonuses could be chased down by the two that are only 17 seconds behind overall.
Yes, at this point, they're the virtual leaders of the race on the road. It's going to be very interesting to see when, if at all, your riders like Marianne Vos, Christine Majus make a move to try and catch them.
I suppose really, if you start to analyse the big stars that have missed it, it's quite amazing, isn't it? As the bunch are crossing the line now, they've completed the climb, and it's 1:25 the advantage. But we can start to look at the riders that have missed the move, and it's quite staggering, isn't it? All the big guns that have been figuring in the top positions have missed the move. It's difficult to take on board.
Yes, and especially when those two riders who are contesting on GC are such good climbers. I'm really surprised by this.
I mean, three that have missed the move. You've got Vos. Oh, there's a crash on the right there. Two riders going down. They don't look to have gone down too heavily. Let's hope not anyway, but maybe just a lack of concentration for a moment, or a touch of wheels, and bang, you're down.
Yes, a peloton on this side, on these narrow, twisting roads, it can be quite dangerous.
Level crossing there. Glad that was open. Right, we're on the approach now to this second sprint. You saw the sign on the left, and it'll be interesting to see who does snap up the 3 seconds 2 and the 1. Ideally, if it went to the two that are highest placed in this group, that would be the correct scenario. That would be Hall and Spratt.
Yes, but you can imagine that the teammates of the riders behind, Chantal Black and Lucinda Brand, will be there to try and contest it, to try and stop them getting any extra advantage.
Yeah, this is where teamwork really does come in. And you can see there is the move already by Roxanne Knetemann from the same team as Marianne Vos. So it looks like Knetemann is beginning to gather herself to try and launch herself up the front as the school kids cheer them on.
Yes, Knetemann is one of the strongest sprinters in this group, along with Hannah Barnes and Jolien Dora, who can win sprints out of any group. Yeah,
and Jolien Dora, of course, very good track rider. She'll no doubt be representing Belgium in Rio in the Omnium, trying to deny Trot a successful defence of that gold medal. And it is Jolien Dora that's on the front at the moment. She won't want to lead this out. It's a long lead out.
Yeah, she's letting Rosanna Slick there take up some of the work. She's a very clever rider, Dora. She's a former junior world road race champion, and her clever sprinting brought her to second on general classification in last year's race.
Well, Dora's just slipped back a couple of places. She'll be pleased with that. She'd like to try and profit from a lead out off one of the other riders, but here they are now. They're starting to wind it up. We're getting close to the line, and on the front we have got leading it out. It looks like Roxanne Knetemann. Knetemann is leading it out, and there's a big challenge coming from Dora, but I think she may have left it too late. Oh, that was a really close sprint. It's academic because the time bonuses for those three will not affect the overall. Right, it was Knetemann that got the 3 seconds, from Dora the 2, and it was Slick that picked up the 1 second.
Yes, Slick riding for her teammate Leah Kirkman, who we saw win points herself. And there at the front, Lucinda Brand congratulating her teammate Knetemann and taking her turn on the front.
And now they're beginning to settle down once again to sharing the workload and trying very hard to develop and increase the advantage. The last time split, remember, we saw was 1 minute 25 seconds. They're going to try and take full advantage of this move. We'll be back.
Move because all 4 of those riders in front are general classification threats.
They are, so they've got everything to gain, and they are settling down to the commitment of trying to keep away from the 10 that they have left.
And look at the effort on Lizzie Armitstead's face there.
She is totally committed. She knows that this can be such a serious moment in the race. The peloton has swelled in numbers. There's been a lot of regrouping there. Now, if they were to get together, they could start to chip away the advantage. Oh, there was a touch of wheels there, and Moolman's in the grass, having touched the back wheel of Longo Borghini.
Yes, it's been a hard race, and they really need every ounce of concentration. And for Moolman Passio, who's a climber here, it's going to be particularly hard at this breakaway because this isn't her natural terrain.
Yeah, fatigue creeping into the legs and concentration of the riders. It has been a severe, brutal contest today, but we are finally poised now. We are on the cusp of something special. The overall standings are going to change dramatically. There are the gaps: 33 seconds from the 4 back to the 10 and 43 seconds back to the peloton.
Yes, look at how they're stretched out in one long line. That looks like Rabo Live on the front, and they're really working hard to try and catch them. They're working looking to try and get Marianne Vos back, because this is dangerous for Vos.
Yeah, Vos knows that she really is on the rack now. She's under the cosh because these four are going to demote her from the leading position in the race.
Yes, Lizzie Armitstead is 16 seconds behind Vos. The other three are 17 seconds, and with 10 seconds on the finish line for the winner, they don't really need that much of a gap at all.
It's all about working the mathematics out, isn't it? Remember, Vos picked up the first sprint of the day and got a 3-second bonus, so actually Lizzie Armitstead is 19 seconds behind Vos, and there is the gap. You can see it's coming down all the time. This really is a nail-biter.
Yes, those chase riders are about to be swept up, and that changes the dynamic all over again. It's going to be particularly useful for Vos to have her Rabo teammates back with her.
So Spratt on the front, the Australian national champion. You just saw the flick of the elbow there. That's the professional signal to say, come on, I've done my turn at the front, now it's your turn. There are the remainder of the leading group, which are trailing these four, and the peloton are closing in very quickly. You can always tell when it's flat out with a long, thin line. There's nowhere to hide.
Yes, and the dynamics in that front group are going to be so interesting, because out of them, Lizzie Armitstead has the fastest finish, but Elisa Longo-Borghini is known for going out of a break like this and making lots of attacks. Watch for her to try and get away.
Well, there's the junction being made. 2 ways to go around the island, and it looks like the peloton has split significantly, but there will be a rejoining. Now, there's only 4 riders ahead of the group with 4 kilometres to go. Can they hang on, and what will the advantage be?
Yes, it's about hanging on, and it's also about watching each other, because remember, that finish is incredibly technical. It offers Armitstead, who has such good skills, real opportunities, but it could also be perfect for Longo-Borghini.
Yeah, the final kilometre in Chesterfield is very technical and challenging, with 4 tight corners, 1 steep downhill, and the final 300 metres is over cobbles.
Yes, with 50 seconds between them and the peloton, they've really got to make that decision about who works first. And sometimes when there's 4 riders, it's very difficult because there's only 3 places on the podium.
Well, they've all got so much to gain here. Remember, 2 more days remaining in the Aviva Women's Tour, but this today has been the most important day, because the field left now with this final grand finale.
This is absolutely relentless. You can see Armitstead there talking to the other riders. She's very good in a break situation like this at getting everyone to work together. Sometimes through being friendly, and sometimes not.
Well, we've got one very adventurous lone attacker here, but that's a big ask to think that she could bridge this gap, because these 4 are now so highly motivated.
Yes, they've just gone through the 3 kilometres to go mark, and this is exactly where you'd expect to see attacks.
The rider is still ahead, so she's staying clear and has created a nice advantage. But what it is doing here, she's actually creating a platform for the peloton to inject even more pace to get up to her.
Yes, and with such small numbers of seconds separating so many riders at the start of this stage, there's so many teams who are going to be working in that peloton to chase these.
But Marianne Vos, of course, and the flying Luxembourger, that is Christine Majerus, are going to be the big losers today if they can't get across to reel in those 4.
Yes, but the thing about Majerus is, because she's part of Boels-Dolmans, Lizzie Armitstead's team, she's going to be happy. They're one of those teams where they don't care who wins as long as she's one of them.
Yeah, they're in such good form, the Boels-Dolmans team, as the leaders come up to 2 kilometres to go. Just 2,000 metres remaining now for these 4 to sprint it out across the line. There's our aerial shot then of the peloton, and they're almost a kilometre behind the leaders.
Yes, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I don't think they can catch them, but at this point it's about mitigating any losses they have and try and make that gap as small as possible.
So the 4, what is going through their minds now? Armitstead must realise how profitable this is going to be. This is her 3rd tour. She retired in the first with 1 day to go when she was lying in the top 6 overall. She was ill, and then last year, having won stage 1, she crashed out. So here she's in with a big opportunity of getting into the lead in the Aviva Women's Tour.
Yes, and she has so much confidence. Ever since she won her rainbow jersey at the World Championships last year, she's been flying. The Omloop Het Nieuwsblad that she won, and then 3 rounds of the Women's World Tour.
Yeah, and let's not forget that Armitstead is the world champion. She's also the Commonwealth Games gold medalist and got herself a silver in London in the Olympics when she was just pipped to the line by Marianne Vos. And Vos knows the talent of Armitstead, and she knows now she's in a chase, and it's looking as though it's slipping away from her.
Yes, I'm quite surprised that none of those other riders have tried to take a jump on Armitstead, because you do not want to go to the line with her.
Yes, and I think she'll handle that technical finish very well. You mentioned Borghini's good as well, but you can take it from me that the Yorkshire lass will not let this slip away.
No, and here they are coming to the corners. 1 kilometre to go. Remember, there's 4 tight corners and 300 metres of cobbles to finish this race.
Yep, and a steep hill to negotiate. Look at the kids out here to give them a cheer. And there's only one rider that they're cheering in that front group, and that is Lizzie Armitstead.
Oh, yes, in match she's been wearing the Best of Britain jersey, but if she can swap it for the general classification Aviva jersey, she'll be very happy tonight.
Well, it's looking like Armitstead is brimming over with confidence here, because she's trying to keep them all on the right shoulder, hugging the left curb as well. But here goes Spratt. Spratt, the Australian champion, trying to surprise the world champion, and Spratt gets the front position now. So Armitstead just cautiously taking the left-hander and locking herself in tight on Spratt, and the peloton have now gone under the 1 kilometre sign as well. This is the next left-hander, and down the steep little drop. So they're lining up for the run to the line now, and it's Spratt, the Australian champion, still on the front. Armitstead waiting then to spring the surprise and try and get over the Aussie champion. Round the next left-hander, and they're approaching the cobbles that'll bring them up to the line. Here we go then. Armitstead now beginning to apply the pressure, and it's Armitstead beginning to try and go clear of the rest, and she is going clear of the rest. Coming up to the line, Armitstead is going to win stage 3 here in Chesterfield at the Aviva Women's Tour. And how important is that? Second is Ashley Moolman, and third was Longo Borghini. Amanda Spratt fourth. Now, how important is that 10-second bonus? Armitstead has got to be 10 seconds clear of Vos on the line to take the yellow jersey. The clock is ticking, and the pressure is being applied, and that is Vos, and she is on the front trying to bring the peloton in here and limit her losses, but she has lost that jersey because there's more than 10 seconds gone since Armitstead arrived at the line. Vos burying herself, but it's been a costly day for Marianne Vos, and the new leader of this race is Lizzie Armitstead with that fantastic stellar performance.
Yes, and with Amalie Diedrichsen coming in 6th, Boels Dolmans have had an amazing day.
It subsequently emerged that Armitstead's gesture pointing to the sky after crossing the line and taking the victory was a tribute to the late Jo Cox MP, who was killed on the streets of her constituency on Thursday. In Armitstead's words, "It was a horrendous tragedy. It wasn't a premeditated gesture, just something I felt at the time. Such an inspiring woman."
Lizzie Armitstead wins stage 3 with a stellar performance. Second, Ashley Moolman, and third, Elisa Longo Borghini. A delighted Lizzie Armitstead steps up to collect the stage winner's prize. And the proud Yorkshire lass becomes the new leader of the Aviva Women's Tour.
You've got a 27-second advantage now over Marianne Vos, for example. Is that going to be enough?
I hope so, yeah. I think it's my director's call to see how we're going to do that, really. I think it's nice that we have so many options within our team, and we kind of play an open tactic, and it means people don't really know how to follow us. So, yeah, all to play for, really.
Katie Hall now leads the Strava Queen of the Mountains with an emphatic 14-point advantage. The Chain Reaction Cycles points jersey classification is led by Marianne Vos.
If you look at the general classification now, how do you feel? Can you still attack this and still go for the win?
Yeah, I still don't know. I have to see it and have to see how the differences are. But well, yeah, of course, Lizzie is in a good shape, and she's in yellow now. So I think it's going to be hard to attack her.
With 2 days to go, the overall standings are Lizzie Armitstead leading, second place Ashley Moolman at 5 seconds, and third Elisa Longo Borghini at 7 seconds. Overnight leader Marianne Vos is now 5th at 27 seconds.
Well, I suspect that was precisely the result that the vast majority of people here at the finishing line in Chesterfield were hoping to see, and Lizzie Armitstead duly delivered. It was a very courageous ride and backed up with real talent today, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. What an exciting race. You know, the hills really made a huge difference, and that's what the girls wanted from last year, and they've put it in this year. So.
Yeah, I mean, to what extent did it rely on just a momentary weakness from the yellow jersey, Marianne Vos, on that second climb, something that perhaps Bulls Dormans had identified the previous day into Stratford-upon-Avon?
Yeah, definitely. I think the thing is you have to remember that these are the very best riders in the world, and they are doing their job to the very best of their ability, and they're super strong and they train really hard, and they've already peaked for this race, and Marianne is coming back on a much slower basis, and so maybe it does expose your lack of race fitness particularly, but I think it was a great event, and I think the hill, that hill really made for an exciting race.
It did, absolutely. Tactically hard though, and it did a bit of damage to Marianne Vos. That 27 seconds gap deficit in the GC is probably too hard for her to get back, so maybe, who knows, but where does the real threat now to Lizzie Armitstead lie?
Well, it would be my prediction of Ashley Passio.
I was going to mention it, but now you mentioned
Passio.
it was a very shrewd prediction. You said that right at the beginning before stage one got underway.
Yeah, she's only 5 seconds down, and she is more of a hill climber than a sprinter, whereas Lizzie can win a lot of sprints. And so I think the next couple of days will be a lot more about the time bonuses again, and you'll see a lot of lead-outs going for those extra seconds on the road, and then at the finish to see how that works out.
Absolutely. Fascinating racing still in store. After 3 stages, as you've just pointed out, Helen, really it could still all come down to time bonuses on the line. Another opportunity to grab some on the road tomorrow from Nottingham to Stoke-on-Trent. Please make sure you join us for highlights.